Cyberpunk 2 is happening, and CD Projekt Red has quietly confirmed far more than people realize. Between the new cities, the unexpected lore updates hidden inside Cyberpunk 2077, and all the new interviews from the creators themselves, this sequel is already shaping up to be far bigger than anyone expected. And today, we're breaking everything down from top to bottom. Every confirmed detail about Cyberpunk 2, every developer hint, the possibilities for the next protagonist, and even the mysterious lore teases CDPR is sneaking into 2077 with all the updates. This is the most complete Cyberpunk breakdown you'll find anywhere right now, so let's jump straight in. Cyberpunk 2, codenamed Project Orion, is officially in development, and CD Projekt Red has made it clear they're doing things differently this time. The project is already in pre-production, and unlike the rushed and chaotic development cycle of Cyberpunk 2077, this one is being built slowly and deliberately. Currently, the team size is hovering somewhere around 90 to 110 developers depending on the month. That may sound small, but this is exactly how CDPR begins its major games. They start with a tightly focused core team, mostly engineers, narrative leads, and early concept developers, and then expand massively once systems and pipelines are set. And here's the timeline almost nobody noticed. The CEO himself confirmed that big CDPR games always take around 4 to 5 years from pre-production to release. Since Cyberpunk 2 entered pre-production in late 2024, the math points to a realistic launch window somewhere around 2029. Yes, it sounds far away, but after what happened in 2020, taking their time is the smartest possible move. They're not repeating that disaster. And speaking of avoiding past mistakes, Cyberpunk 2 is abandoning the Red Engine entirely and moving to Unreal Engine 5. This is one of the boldest decisions in CDPR's history, and it instantly changes everything about how this sequel will be built. But let's address the elephant in the room. Unreal Engine 5 has gotten a pretty negative reputation. Nearly every UE5 game in the last 2 years has launched with performance issues, terrible optimization, stutters, asset pop-in, shader compilation freezes, the list goes on. People have started calling it the bad performance engine. But here's what people forget. Every UE5 disaster so far has come from rushed timelines, small studios, or teams that simply didn't have the expertise to use the engine properly. CD Projekt Red is the exact opposite of that. They're slow, patient, experienced, and deliberate. And UE5 isn't just a different engine. It's packed with features that Cyberpunk desperately needed during its original development. CDPR has already explained that they're not treating UE5 as a reset. They're bringing the knowledge they gained from the Red Engine's physics, crowd systems, AI routines, and streaming tools, and combining that with the raw power and flexibility of UE5. That means we'll see something like Unreal's visual power layered with CDPR's world simulation tech. The benefits are massive. Better ray tracing, much more stable lighting, advanced weather systems, faster asset streaming, enormous crowds that behave realistically, and improved destructibility. Unreal also lets developers iterate far faster, which means fewer bugs and smoother development. And the most overlooked part of this engine shift is how it ties directly into CDPR's recent hiring. They've brought on network engineers and online systems programmers specifically for Cyberpunk to something Unreal is far better suited for. So yes, UE5 has had issues, but Cyberpunk 2 isn't a rushed indie game. It's one of the biggest AAA productions of the decade, and CDPR has the time and resources to optimize the engine properly. If anything, this may finally be the game that proves UE5 can run flawlessly at scale. Now let's talk about the game world itself, because this is where things get truly exciting. For years, fans speculated that Cyberpunk 2 would step beyond Night City, and this year, Mike Pondsmith himself confirmed exactly that. In a recent talk, he said the next game includes another city we visit, and that this new location feels less like Blade Runner and more like Chicago gone wrong. That one phrase sent the entire community spiraling because Chicago has always been one of the biggest unanswered locations in Cyberpunk, but the way Pondsmith said it matters. He didn't say the new city is Chicago, he said it feels like a twisted, chaotic, industrial version of it. Something darker, wider, and more dangerous than Night City in a totally different way. And that lines up perfectly with something CDPR has been quietly teasing inside Cyberpunk 2077 itself. A new megacity concept called the Plex. Most players miss this because the references are scattered across tiny lore shards and new vehicle notes. But CDPR has been planting breadcrumbs about the Plex since Phantom Liberty, and these breadcrumbs increased with patch 2.3. The Plex appears to be a massive, fused metroplex made up of several East Coast cities merged into one gigantic corporate region. Think Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D., all combined into a single monstrous city-state. One of the most revealing details is hidden in a Rayfield memo describing a Caliburn variant designed for a discreet business trip to the Plex, specifically mentioning heavy armor and weapon systems needed to survive both street-level threats and corporate warfare. That is not how normal cities are described. That is how you describe a dystopian war zone disguised as an urban center, exactly what Pondsmith described as Chicago gone wrong. So, the picture becomes clear. Cyberpunk 2 will very likely feature Night City and the Plex, with a high-speed maglev transit system connecting the two megacities that would instantly make Cyberpunk 2 one of the largest open-world games ever created and far closer in scale to the huge multi-city world of the original tabletop RPG. Now let's move into the most mysterious part of all of this: Morgan Blackhand. This character is legendary in Cyberpunk lore, essentially the John Wick of Night City, and for years, fans wondered why he never appeared in Cyberpunk 2077. Pondsmith has spent the last 2 years answering that question. He revealed that Morgan Blackhand is alive, that he has 10 years of missing story that need to be filled in before 2077, and that Morgan has been traveling, operating in multiple major cities, and doing things he wants fans to be shocked by once the truth is revealed. Even more interesting, Pondsmith confirmed that CDPR will get to play with Morgan eventually. That's huge. It means his absence wasn't a retcon. It was intentional setup. Pondsmith and CDPR's narrative team have been collaborating to build a backstory that will lead directly into the next game. When you combine that with the Plex hints and the talk of new cities, the picture becomes clear. Morgan Blackhand is almost certainly returning in Cyberpunk 2, likely in a major city outside Night City, and possibly playing a critical role in the new plot. His return seems less like speculation and more like a planned reveal. This leads naturally to the big question surrounding the protagonist. Will Cyberpunk 2 continue V's story, or will it introduce someone entirely new? CDPR has been careful not to spoil anything, but they have confirmed that Cyberpunk 2077's endings will not lock the sequel into a single canonical path. That means they can acknowledge V's choices without picking a single true ending. Multiple possibilities exist. V could return as an AI construct, especially in the endings where their consciousness survives in cyberspace. That would allow V to appear as guidance, as a digital companion, or as a hidden presence influencing the world. It's also possible V appears only in cameos or optional sequences. But the likeliest scenario is a brand new protagonist from a new city with totally new life paths. And this ties perfectly into another major change CDPR has confirmed. The life path system is being completely overhauled. The narrative director openly admitted that the life paths in 2077 didn't go far enough. You chose Corpo, Nomad, or Street Kid, but after the intro, everything merged into the same storyline far too quickly. Cyberpunk 2 is fixing that. CDPR wants your life path to actually matter. Different missions, different allies, different consequences, different neighborhoods, and even different relationships depending on your background. It's one of the most requested improvements, and now it's officially happening. And of course, there's the question everyone asks, will Johnny Silverhand return? Keanu Reeves has already said he's open to coming back, and Pondsmith has joked that if Keanu wants back, he knows where to call. That alone tells you CDPR isn't ruling out Silverhand. He won't be the main co-protagonist again, but cameos, AI echoes, shards, or special missions are almost guaranteed. He's simply too iconic to leave behind completely. And then there's the unexpected curveball, multiplayer. CDPR hasn't announced anything publicly, but their job listings give the truth away. They're hiring network engineers, online systems designers, and multiplayer programmers specifically for Orion. These roles mention low-latency systems, matchmaking, persistent online features, all stuff you don't build unless online gameplay is planned. It likely won't be an MMO, and probably won't even launch with co-op on day one, but Cyberpunk 2 is almost guaranteed to include online elements. This could mean co-op gigs, shared districts, PvE events, or even optional online hubs. CDPR wants online to be a part of Cyberpunk's future, but in a smarter, more optional way. Now let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077, because something strange has been happening. Even though CDPR announced that 2 was the last big update, patch 2.3 dropped with something unexpected: new lore. Shards referencing the Plex, updated character data, hidden calendar encryptions, and new hints tied to Morgan Blackhand. The most bizarre part is the encrypted birthday calendar. CDPR released a character birthday chart earlier this year, but 6 birthdays were encrypted. The first reveal turned out to be Takamura, a character who didn't need encryption unless his story is being updated for future content. These updates are too intentional to be random. They feel like pre-sequel groundwork, slowly establishing new lore threads without drawing too much attention. So, when you piece everything together, the full picture becomes clear. Cyberpunk 2 is in pre-production with a 4 to 5 year development cycle pointing toward a 2029 release. It's being built entirely on Unreal Engine 5 with a deep focus on performance, stability, AI behavior, massive crowds, and expansive world simulation. The sequel will likely feature 2 megacities, Night City and a Chicago-inspired supercity known as the Plex, connected by high-speed maglev transit. Life paths will be far more meaningful. Online components are being developed. Morgan Blackhand is almost guaranteed to return. A new protagonist is likely, but V and Johnny may still appear in limited forms. And Cyberpunk 2077 continues to receive new lore that seems designed to prepare players for this massive sequel. Phantom Liberty proved what this franchise can truly be, and now Cyberpunk 2 is shaping up to be the real evolution, the one that matches the ambition the tabletop lore promised decades ago. A bigger world, a deeper narrative, a darker future, and possibly the return of the most legendary solo of all time. Now I want to hear from you. Do you want Cyberpunk 2 to continue V's story, or should it start fresh with a completely new mercenary? Should Morgan Blackhand be a major character, or do you prefer him to remain mysterious? And do you think the Plex is the new city, or could CDPR surprise us with something even bigger? Drop your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe, and stick around, because as more Cyberpunk 2 news drops, you'll hear it here first. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.